A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. This is Tariq Amin, lecturer, Department of English, Kohat University of Science and Technology, Kohat. Welcome to the course of Communication Skills. This is video number 1 of the lecture number 20, and our today's topic is ways of delivering the oral message. Let's have a look at the course outlines, lecture outlines of today's class. In today's class, we are going to cover kind of oral presentations, extemporaneous, reading, memorization, and impromptu. Now, before going into the details of different kinds of oral presentations, let's have a brief overview of what presentation is and how should we do it. Okay, your presentation should not be too long or too short. It should not be too long. If it is too long, people will get bored. Your audience will get bored. And if it is too short, you might not be in a position to deliver your message in a best possible way. You will not be able to deliver your message completely. So your presentation should not be too long and it should not be too short. Okay, they should be moderate. Your presentations should be moderate. It should be of moderate length. Short talks may range from 10 minutes in length, 1 minute to 10 minutes. And what about longer statements or longer talks? The longer talks or longer statement may vary from 10 minutes to 1 hour. And if your presentation is short or it is short talk, it may range from 1 minute to 10 minutes, and if it is longer, it may vary from 10 minutes to 1 hour. One thing for sure, the longer the presentation, the higher the risk. If your presentation is longer, there are more possibilities that your audience will get bored and they might not be in a position to listen to your whole presentation, your all presentation completely. They might leave in between your presentation. So there are higher risks in longer presentation. That is why your presentation should not be too long. You should not bore the students. You should not bore the audience. Okay, you might lose audience attention. There is a great possibility that you would lose audience attention and they will leave you in between. So keep in mind, convey your main message first. First of all, you should convey your main message. After that, you may talk about other things, other supporting materials, supporting things, supporting points. There are 4 basic methods, sometimes called styles of presenting oral messages. Presenting a speech such as manuscript, memorized or memorization, extemporaneous, and impromptu. These are 4 different methods of presenting oral presentations, or different styles of presentations. Each has a variety of uses in various forms of communication. They are used in different forms. The first one is manuscript style or reading. As the name shows that in such a presentation style, you have a manuscript, you have a script, and you read from that. The speech is written, you have a written form of speech, and the speaker reads it forward to the audience, word for word to the audience. You have a written speech and you speak it word for word for your audience. Originally, it was done from the handwritten paper manuscript. In the past, people used to have handwritten paper manuscript and people used to read it from that. But as we know that now it is a digitalized world, you have many methods instead of handwritten paper manuscripts from which you can read. You have screens, you can read from that as well. Such as today, the manuscript style is common, but the paper is gone. The paper is gone. We have digital screens nowadays instead of paper. Who reads the speech to the audience? Answer: newscaster and television personalities. Most of the time, we see newscasters and television personalities using different manuscripts and reading different manuscripts. In the old days, the manuscript was hand-lettered on cue cards. They used to have cue cards, and which were held next to the camera lens. Today, a special teleprompter working like a periscope is attached to the camera so the newscaster is looking at the lens while reading. Whenever we see newscaster, we see them, they directly look at the camera and they read from there. Actually, along with the camera, they keep a teleprompter which work like a periscope and they read from that. Major political figures and other who don't want to make mistake read a manuscript. Most of the time people use this very strategy, this very style of oral presentation when they don't want to make mistakes. They write a manuscript in advance and they read from that so that they may not make mistakes. Today speakers on television often read from teleprompter. Teleprompter, as we have discussed the same thing in the first point, a device allowing them to read their words directly from a script passing in front of camera lens. The second one is memorization or memorized style of presentation. As the name suggests, the speakers memorize major points or the whole points and they speak it in front of them. Like the memorized style of speaking is when the manuscript is committed to memory, they memorize it and recite it to the audience verbatim, word for word. They memorize it, the speakers memorize it and they speak it word for word in front of their audience. And the days when the allocation what is allocation? Let's discuss it. It is the art of careful public speaking using clear pronunciation and good breathing to control the voice. In the days when allocation was taught, this was a typical approach. In the days when the allocation was taught, when the different people were taught how to carefully speak in front of different public figures, public audience, using your clear pronunciation and good breathing in order to control the voice. This was actually taught in the past. This was a typical approach. This memorization approach or this memorized style was a typical approach in the days when this very art was taught. A speech was a recitation. People used to recite it. In addition, some people memorize all the data. Some people memorize all the data, which is not a good thing because there is a greater likelihood of forgetting the material. There is one risk in this very style. If you memorize all the data, all of your presentation, you might forget some of the points or you might forget some the main points of your presentation. There is a risk in this because if you even forget one very point, you might not be able to present your presentation in a smooth way. That is why it is not a better idea to memorize all the presentation. Where is a memorized delivery style still common? Where is a memorize? Yep, there are some people who memorize their presentations. It is a typical it is typical for speakers in high school and university speech and debate teams to memorize their competitive speeches. Most of the time when we listen to different speeches, we listen to different debates, we can see that the speakers uh, memorize their speeches and they deliver it in front of their audience. So there are lots of chances of forgetting the material, forgetting the main points of presentations. The another style is impromptu style. The word is very difficult. Impromptu speaking involves delivering a message on the spur of the moment. It is delivering message on the spur of the moment, as when someone is asked to say a few words. For example, you go to a meeting or you go to a party and your friend tells you, asks you to say a few words. Now this is impromptu. You speak or you deliver a message on the spur of the moment, You prepare it on the spur of the moment and you deliver it in front of the audience. This is what when you visit somewhere and you don't know that you will be asked to deliver something and you don't know that you will be asked to deliver something and someone asks you to deliver something or someone asks you to say few words. So such sort of presentation is impromptu. Theoretically, an impromptu speech is made up on the spot with no prior preparation. You are not prepared for the presentation, but you deliver it on the spur of the moment. You don't prepare it. You don't have prior preparation for the presentation. It is unprepared and unrehearsed. It is actually unprepared and unrehearsed. So there are a chances that you will make mistakes. Often grace before meals, an acknowledgement when you acknowledge something, an introduction when you introduce something or someone, offering thanks, and so on fall into this category. Offering, thanks, etc., or in any introduction, or when you acknowledge something, acknowledge someone. These all things fall into this category, this impromptu style. While there are some occasions when a speech in those categories is actually prepared, prepare your acceptance for the Academy Award before you are called. There are many occasions. There are many occasions when there is little or no opportunity to prepare. You don't have the opportunity to prepare yourself for the presentations. You have little opportunity, or we can say that you have no opportunity. Extemporaneous style. This is another style, the fourth one. It is sandwiched between memorized and impromptu delivery. One is memorized delivery and another is impromptu delivery. It is something in between memorized and impromptu delivery styles. You find the extemporaneous style. It is neither memorized nor impromptu delivery style. It is something in between these both. For this style, the speech is not completely written out. The speech is not completely written out. It is usually delivered with keynote for reference. You have your keynote, you have your main points, and you look at your main points and you deliver your speech. It is neither completely written out nor it is completely impromptu. So you have a keynotes, you have main points of your presentation, and you explain those points. You refer to your keynotes, you refer to your page, and sometimes you even read a sentence or two from your page as well. Most public speaking courses and books describe extemporaneous speeches as carefully prepared and rehearsed. but delivered using notes of keywords and phrases to support the speaker. So this very style is neither rehearsed, it is carefully, we can say that it is carefully prepared, carefully rehearsed. But when you present it in front of your audience, you don't deliver it, you don't read it from your pages, from your pages that you have. You just look at the pages for the main points so that you may not forget that. So so that you can present your presentation in a coherent way. Phrasing is pre-rehearsed, words are pre-chosen, and the organization is heard and well constructed. There should be no fumbling for words, no rambling, and length of time should be carefully monitored. You should monitor the length of your time of your presentation. There should be no rambling in your presentation, and there should be no fumbling for words. The style does offer the speaker flexibility to include references. The speakers can include references to the immediate surroundings. They can include references to the previous speeches. They can include references for the news of the day and so on. So they can include different references. This method is usually preferred by the audience and speakers because why do different people and audience prefer it? Because it allows the speaker to use notes or an outline. You can use notes and you can use outline. May use 3 by 5-inch cards or a full sheet of paper as notes for the 3 marks. You can take 5-inch cards, or you can even take a full sheet of paper with yourself when you present something, and you can refer to them. For main points. Allows more eye contact. This is very much important point, that it allows more eye contact with audience, which is very much important. Permits you to establish rapport. You can establish rapport with your audience. Enables you to move with ease. You can move with ease during your presentation, whereas in the other style, such as memorized style, it does not permit you to move with ease. So in today's class, we discussed different styles, different ways of delivering oral message, such as memorized style or memorization, impromptu, and extemporaneous, etc. This is the reference effective business communication by Herta A. Murphy. This is the 7th edition of this book, Effective Business Communication. Thank you very much for listening to the video. Allah Hafiz.